So one of the main comments I always get is that people are having trouble figuring out the strum patterns to all these songs that I teach. So I'm going to break down the method that I originally used to sort of figuring this stuff out by ear and working out what was going on. So we're going to talk about rock and pop music specifically, and we're going to stick to music that's in 4/4 time. When you do that, there are two main types of strum patterns that happen. We have 8th note patterns and 16th note patterns. 8th note patterns are the simpler ones. They're a good place to start, and as you would expect, there are 8 strums in an 8th note pattern, and you count them as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So let's take a G chord. We're just going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. When strumming, you alternate down and up to keep a natural flow to things. For this pattern, we're going to strum down on the numbered beats, and we strum up on the ands that happen in between. 1 and 2 and. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. This is a complete pattern, which means your arm is constantly moving. Down, up, down, up, down, up. Most of the time in music, that doesn't happen because this sounds kind of robotic and monotonous. Things become much more interesting when you start missing strums out. There are songs that get away with it, something like The Ballad of John and Yoko by the Beatles. It's just down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And that works. But things are often more interesting in music when you add breaks. That actually adds rhythm into things. So for example, what if I missed a couple of strums out on this pattern? So we get, instead of down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, what if we get down, down, up, up, down, up? Starts to sound a little bit more interesting, and we could do all sorts of things with that. We could take notes out anywhere. We could go, or when people usually first start doing this, there is an element of difficulty to overcome that is a bit trickier than you would expect, especially with up strums. Up strums feel strange when you're first starting out. The trick is that you have to keep your arm constantly moving up and down. Even when you're missing out a strum, you need to keep the arm movement going. So as an example, I'm still moving my arm up on those beats that I'm missing out. I'm just not hitting the strings when I do that. So down, up, down, up. It can feel really weird at first to do 2 up strums that are right next to each other. It just doesn't feel natural, and it's something that you have to practice and eventually get used to. It's usually a good idea at the start to say the numbers or the words out loud as you strum to really get a feel for it. So for example, you could go 1, 2 and 3 and, or you could go down, down, up, up, down, up. So all you need to do when you hear a strum pattern is figure out which notes are being missed out. 16th note patterns, they follow the same idea, but you're fitting in twice as many notes in the same space, so they tend to be a lot more complex and hectic, and they allow you to do quite a bit more rhythmically. You'll hear them a lot in funk music and things like that, but they crop up all over the place, and they're definitely more versatile than 8th note patterns. So a 16th note full strum would be, let's go with an A chord this time. So that's down, up, 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 down, up. That's a lot to fit in. So usually we don't say all the letters or the numbers or the words as we strum these. We do these more by feel. So they are a more advanced technique to get used to. So let's do an example of a 16th note strum. We could do something like down, up, up, down, up, down, up, up, down, up. Which when you slow it down kind of feels like 2 8th note patterns stuck together. So let's play that a bit faster and we get. So to figure this stuff out yourself, the first thing you need to do when you're listening to a song that you want to figure out is work out whether it's an 8th note or a 16th note pattern. You can do that by, when you count along, do you naturally want to divide the beats, the single beats in a 4/4 bar into 1 and, or do you want to divide them into 1 E and a? One of these will feel more right than the other most of the time. I'd also recommend writing out a complete pattern in the 8th or 16th note and assigning either the numbers, the 1 E and a or the 1 and 2 and, or down, up with like a D or a U. Write out the full thing and then tap out the rhythm either on your legs or on a table just to get a feel for what is right. Because more often than not, you can hear it in your head what you want the pattern to be. It's just getting it on the guitar which is the struggle. So you can tap out or do it on your legs. So let me give you some examples of songs which use 8th note rhythms, the more simple ones. You'll find out as you do this a lot that songs use the same patterns quite a bit because there are some which just naturally fit into a rhythm really, really nicely. So we could do something like Dreams by Fleetwood Mac. So that's going down, down, up, down, up. There's also Songbird by Oasis. It's going down, 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 up, down, up. For more complex 16th note patterns, we've got songs like Fake Plastic Trees by Radiohead. That's down, 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 up, down, 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 up. It's quite a slow tempo for that song. You'll find the songs with really slow tempos are often using 16th notes because otherwise everything feels very empty. And we've got a song like Haiti by Arcade Fire. So a lot of this stuff you just figure out by feel eventually. You start to hear it. You might not be exactly what they're doing on the record, but it's something that sounds and feels right. And if you really want to get specific, you can study and get things exactly on how you want them to be. So I'm going to assign you a little bit of homework. Take these songs as examples and see if you can figure out what their strum patterns might be. Some of them don't actually include guitar. Just see if you can feel what would fit as a strum pattern in the song. If you have any questions, leave me a comment and I'll be happy to answer. I hope this all made sense and good luck.